Now let's create some eyes for our character. So here is the head and body geometry that we have right now. This is what I ended up with for the head. And so we need to create some eyes that'll fit right inside here. So let's go ahead and hide our geometry here, and we'll just build it at the origin. So the first thing I'll do is create a polygon primitive sphere. Go ahead and take a look at the sphere. Let's rotate it 90 degrees just so that our pole is facing forward, just because. And let's take a look at the resolution. So looking at the resolution, this is going to be real-time model. And so we're not going to have the opportunity to smooth this. So we actually might want to make the base geometry a little bit higher resolution than we would if we were going to be smoothing this at render time. And so let's take a look. We've got along the axis and along the height. Along the height, you can see they're pretty thin. And so I actually want to make sure and take those down a little bit. So we're looking at 2012, and I just want to look at kind of the silhouette of it. And we can take this and smooth the edges, soften the edges. And so if you're good with that silhouette, then you can stick with something like this. Now I want to make the eye out of 3 pieces. So we're going to have the outer piece, and then we're going to have an inner piece, and then we're going to have the pupil. And so let's take this piece here. We'll go ahead and duplicate another one. The first one, I'm going to just scale up just slightly, and then I'm going to hide it. Let's actually call it eye outer, and then let's hide it. Now this piece is going to be the main part of the eye. And this eye it sticks out of the side of the character's head, but we still want it to focus forward. And so it's going to be a little bit different than the normal eye that's set in the front, where you can see kind of the front, but everything else is covered. And so we are going to see a little bit more of the side of the eye. And so I want to bring the iris, instead of having it be a small iris kind of right back here, I want to bring it all the way back kind of in this range. And so to do that, I'm simply going to go to the side view here, and let me turn off our cameras in this view. And then I'm going to take these points and just move them back, kind of move them back like that. You can also scale if you want to, but I'm not working with very many of them. So it's easy to kind of do this. You could also, like I said, come in here, maybe scale them down, move them back a little bit, something like that. All right, let's go ahead and take our inside faces here, and I'm going to turn off symmetry. I think I've got symmetry turned on here. And then I'll go ahead and scale this up just a little bit. So this is going to be the size that you want your pupil to be. So, somewhere in this range. You can have it be smaller if you want more of a focused look. So I'm going to make it something like that, and go ahead and push it in a little bit. And then just to create a nice sharp line there, I'm going to go ahead and extract this. So go to Edit Mesh, Extract. And we'll take that piece of geometry. Shift P will drop it out of that hierarchy. We can center our pivot, and we can kind of scale it down from the side view. Get something flat. And then I'll move it back inside here and scale it up. Something like that. And then we can go ahead and drop this out with Shift P, select all of these pieces and delete the history. Let's group them together with a Control G. We'll call this eye group, and then we'll call this eye inner and eye pupil. I'm going to go ahead and leave the outer eye turned off for right now. Let's grab this whole thing. We'll turn the head and body back on, and then we'll take that eye group. It's going to need to be scaled, but let's move it up into position so we can see where it goes here. And so we'll scale it up a bit, kind of rotate it, move it back into position here. We can turn our outer eye back on. So we're looking at something like that. And then if you want to, you can come in to your hypershade, let's just create a quick blend. I'll assign it to this outer part of the eye. And then with the blend selected, go ahead and increase the transparency. Then if you want to decrease the eccentricity, you can do that just as a temporary method to be able to see through the eye. And then you can go in and scale it a little bit more as needed. Also, it's pointing completely straight forward. You may need to rotate it in a little bit to get more of the kind of predatory look. Otherwise, you can get kind of a wall-eyed kind of effect sometimes. All right, so you just want to put it in position kind of like that. And I think the resolution may even be a little bit high, but I think it'll work. It gives us a nice smooth silhouette for the eye. So once you've got that done, the next thing we'll do is we're going to build a necklace. So a piece that we don't have at all. And we're going to use quad draw in a way that we haven't really used before to create a completely new piece of geometry. But we're going to use the base to build it on. So we'll do that next.